Welcome to Viking Spotlight. This is a podcast about people, events, and projects in the North Canton City School District, and I'm your host, Jeff Wendorf. Today we'll be talking with Mr. Todd Alkire, who's a teacher in the Career Tech Engineering program at Hoover High School. Welcome.
Hi, thanks.
Yeah, glad you're here. Yeah. I know you're busy, and you just dismissed a class, and lots going on with Career Tech, and we've had Rob White on in the past, talk a little bit about it, and Mr. Bodenschatz and some other Career Tech folks here, and we wanted to make sure we can get you on about the engineering and robotics and so on. So tell us a little bit about Todd Alkire, though.
Oh, wow. This would be year 28 for me. That's kind of hard to believe. It's going very quick. Most of it's been here in North Canton. Prior to this, I was a physics teacher over in Jackson and taught in Akron Springfield and started way back when at Fairless High School.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Right out of school. Yeah.
Good. So 28 years. Yeah, good.
Yeah, on the downhill now.
Yeah, and you've been doing, since physics, you've been doing the engineering and things.
Yeah, I came from Jackson, and we did, I was at the middle school doing science, and then we adopted the engineering program, started at the middle school, and in 2011, I believe, I came up to the high school.
Okay. Is the name of the engineering program Project Lead the Way?
That's the curriculum that we use, yes. That's the main organization.
Okay, great. And that starts in the middle school, obviously. And
our kids start in the 6th grade with STEM courses here.
Yeah, very cool. That's good. And they do quite well. And so the engineering program, the Project Lead the Way, and that course and that curriculum covers a wide variety of classes and designed to develop to manufacturing and so on. And can you kind of take us through that?
Well, our students are unique in that they're able to start through the program as freshmen. We do have students from other districts, Jackson and Lake, but they don't come till they're juniors. So our students actually have a 2-year possible head start on some of those students. We try our best to give them as well-rounded of an experience of what the field of engineering would actually be. Many of our students have friends or relatives that are an engineer or work for a local company that does that, but they don't know exactly what they do. So our hope is that by the time they graduate, if they've gone through the full program, that they either know that for sure I'd like to pursue an engineering career, or maybe I don't want to, and we view that as a success as well. We do have students that go on to college and maybe they haven't gone through our program and they decide after a year, maybe this isn't for me. Well, in college, you've almost wasted a year.
It's an expensive
It's an expensive experiment. You're right. So we like to think that most of our kids, if they go on to a program, they're prepared, they understand what the field is about, and they're more likely to pursue that and be successful. And hopefully, by the end of that, they're coming back to our community and obtaining, working in one of our companies here.
Right. Yeah, lots of opportunities with engineering in the greater Stark County area and Summit County too, as well, with all the tire companies. And I think we have a lot of.
Before I came in for the interview, I jumped on Indeed.com and just did a quick search. And within a 25-mile radius of North Canton, there's almost 1,600 open jobs in manufacturing. Yeah. And I even looked for healthcare, and there's almost 5,000 open positions. Those are the top 2 employers in Stark County. And I think if you look at our population, we have a very large number of students that are in biomed and also engineering. So hopefully
lots
we're filling
of opportunities
some of those.
to keep kids home and keep them in Stark County and in North Canton. Yeah. That's good. So tell us a little bit about the engineering program. What does it prepare them for, and maybe a little bit more detail on the engineering components of it?
When they start with us, they're going to start in what we call our engineering design course, and they're going to get more or less the basics. They're going to learn CAD software, how to construct a design process, how to solve a problem, how to take an idea and make it to something tangible. And as they go on through the courses, we get more specific in the study. So in year 2, it's going to be more of a mechanical engineering base. So they're looking at thermodynamics, statics, bridges, members and trusses, things of that nature. Supports, sure. Yeah. And a lot of it is taking the things that maybe they're learning in their math class and science class and applying it. In year 3 or course 3, that would be digital electronics, and that focus is going to be electrical engineering. And that one is more micro scale. So the students are learning to create circuits and designs that are going to be very, very small. So they're going from big down to small.
Right.
And then year 4 would be our computer integrated manufacturing. That one is meant to mimic the manufacturing process and how to get a product from a raw material to something that you would provide to a consumer, and looking at all of the manufacturing processes that it could go through. And then more importantly for that class, we also go out locally and visit many of our local manufacturers. So we're getting our students into those facilities.
So everything from design to supplies to assembly. And,
Absolutely,
and
the whole 9 yards.
And the whole thing. That's neat.
And then the last course is our capstone. And those students are, by the end of that year, they've taken an invention or an innovation of some sort and try to develop that, and then come up with some sort of product by the end of the course year.
Neat.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. And it's back in my day, 100 years ago, ours was associated with what we called shop class at the time.
Yes.
It was mechanical drawing. Yeah.
Yeah, I took that as well. Yeah.
Paper, pencil, and lots of erasers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, it sounds like, a student to get those things, mechanical and electrical, and then some manufacturing pieces, a great experience. And, I would bet kids love to try to figure out, one, how things work and how to kind of reverse engineer a little bit of
a lot of that.
Yeah.
And probably more important than anything that they learn as far as a skill is they also learn how to fail in this class. The light bulb doesn't always turn on their project, and they don't always, it doesn't end up the way they thought it would. So they learn how to be able to go back and troubleshoot and fix things. And I think that's one of the more valuable things that our kids are learning.
Sure. Say, okay, where's the problem occurring? And it's probably one of the first steps, right?
Yes.
One of the first fundamental things. Yeah. Yeah. It's life, right? Fundamentals make the big difference. Cool. Well, in some of the things that you're doing in those courses sounds fascinating, and in general, and I know if kids are going into engineering in college, that sets them ahead, I'm sure, for some experience. And are any of your classes CCP or College Credit Plus?
We don't have any CCP courses. They are honors level courses. And then some students, depending on what school you go to, and that's up to the host college, that they could get credit for that coursework. And oftentimes that might be an elective here and there in the engineering program. But again, that's strictly decided by the college they attend.
Yeah, and you were involved recently, even today, in what's called web exams. Can you tell us a little bit about how that affects our career tech programs?
Well, as with most of our students, they take a lot of tests. But here in the state of Ohio, we complete what's called a web exam, and that's more or less a proficiency exam to see what they've learned and measure any progress that they've made throughout their courses. So we do that in May for all of our students. And then we also take exams through Project Lead the Way. So as well, they assess how well we're teaching the curriculum. And historically, our students do extremely well on those exit exams. And we're very happy and proud of what they're doing for that.
Yeah, great. Well, great staff teaching like you, and great kids and families. So that gives us a leg up on getting great results. So yeah, thanks. Well, so our kids graduate, they go to college, and a high majority of your students go into engineering?
Yes. We do have to track and survey our students, and most of the kids that I'd say we're probably at about a 95 to 96% ratio of students going on to a 4-year program after they graduate from Hoover. And then we'll probably have another 1 or 2% that maybe stay locally and go to, say, Stark State, and then another smaller percentage that maybe just go directly into the workforce. Yeah. The majority of those students are going on to a 4-year program, and now we have students that are working at Google. We've had kids at SpaceX.
Very cool.
So here locally at Timken. So our kids are all over the place right now and doing really neat things.
Very cool. Very cool. So you have, speaking of cool, you have something called the Fab Lab associated with your program. Tell us about Fab Lab, and I'm sure some of the community knows what it is, but others don't. Tell us all about it.
We are very fortunate. We have a fabrication facility attached with our classrooms, so our students have dedicated CAD classrooms just for designing and everything else. But we also have attached to that a very large facility where we have manufacturing equipment CNC milling machines, laser engravers, 3D printers, CNC routers, metalworking, woodworking equipment. So the idea is that our students can design anything, and then they can physically go fabricate that. So they make something tangible. And we find that our kids are often wanting to get the design work done as quickly as they can, so that they can get into the lab and get on a laser engraver or something of that nature. So I think it helps our students when they become an engineer or they go on to some sort of employ in that area, that they have the knowledge you can design it, but can you make it?
Right.
And they have an appreciation for how you can actually create that item. And they quickly learn the difference between design and manufacturing. Yeah. Can I actually make it, even though it's on the computer, but they learn that quickly.
Yeah, and you've got to tell the machines exactly what to do in order to make the parts correctly, and yeah, that's cool. Well, I mean, the I guess social media maybe is, if you're interested at all in some of those kind of things, the things like the CNC machines and woodworking and the laser engraving and all those things have given our kids opportunities in other programs, an opportunity to learn to use those machines and those software. And
the Fab Lab is open to everybody. So any student that wants to come to the Fab Lab and learn to operate any of the equipment, we can take them through anything. And once they've been trained and learned, then it's kind of like the library. They have access to that equipment. So yes, we team up with students in construction trades or even business management. In whatever program, if they need to create a product, they can come down. We can teach them how to use it.
I believe some of our awards that we give in the district are at
we
the
throw
high
those
school.
around we do some work, some custom work here and there for a trophy or two or a plaque.
Large format printing. And
we make posters and
those.
fat heads and all those neat things.
So lots of people come to you and say, "Hey, can you do this?" And it's a matter of, "Hey, we'll do our curriculum first, but then we've got these projects second."
It's fun to do those little custom projects, though. So the kids like to get into those.
That's very cool stuff, and more common than it was, 6-7 years ago, I'm sure, because of the things that are happening out there. The price of the machines, anybody can go get a 3D printer or
many of our kids have them in their homes now. Yeah, for a few $100s, you can buy one of those.
Yeah. Interesting. Good stuff. Well, there's some other things that you've gotten in the Fab Lab that you didn't mention that's coming on. I know you got Grant and got trained last summer. Tell us about the robotic arm.
New to our program, we'll be adopting FANUC robotic arm systems. So our students will be trained and they'll obtain what's called a handling tool certification. It's an industry-level certification. So they could essentially take on an entry-level job through automation robotics. We did a survey with help of the Chamber of Commerce in Stark County. Then we surveyed our local manufacturers, and they came back with us and said, we are adopting automation, or we have this in our facility now. We could use operators. So now the majority of our students may not necessarily leave the high school and go directly into that. But it could definitely it provides them an industry certification that another comparable student would not have. It gives them experience within an industry setting. It's not just a little toy that they're going to have on their desk. This is an actual machine that they would see on a shop floor. They're receiving the same certification that if an employee went from, say, MK Morse to get that certification, it would be the exact same thing. So it's a little bit more intense than what we've done in the past. We're excited for it. We've been waiting on it for a few months now. It's still on a boat out in the ocean somewhere. So
we're in a dock somewhere.
Yeah.
Good. That's very cool. We're excited to see that. And so that's basically a robotic arm that you can manipulate and tell it to do different things. Take object A and place it on over here on point B.
It does many. You probably see them more commonly if you look if you go onto YouTube, you see like in automotive manufacturing, the big yellow robot arms. It would be those.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, speaking of robotics, you have a pretty neat club that you have and a robotics team, and you head that up. So tell us about the robotics team.
I'm fortunate. I'm the lead mentor for our high school robotics team. We have a competitive robotics team that, not unlike all of our athletic programs, we tend to meet all year round. We have a couple of competitions that we go to in the spring, and that will be starting up in January. And that, again, is a club that's open up to all of our students at Hoover High School. And we do on occasion have students from other schools that come here and visit and work with us. So we've had students from Jackson and Greene and Central Catholic that are part of the program as well. So it's a pretty big on-take endeavor. The kids work extremely hard. We work 6 days a week. They put in 3 hours a night after school and about 5 or 6 on a Saturday. So it's pretty intense, but the kids do a great job, and they're very excited for it. And we work really hard to make a nice product. And then on top of that, we also have a Women in Engineering program. So that's headed up by Lauren Maxwell, who's an additional engineering teacher. She handles more of the mechanical engineering in our capstone course, but she leads our Women in Engineering program, and that's a group that is more, I would say, our service-oriented group. So they do neat projects like around now. They're adapting toys for children with special needs that need some special adaptation. Yeah. So we have plenty of after-school opportunities for students to get involved with.
Robotics Club, you guys compete in different aspects. Each year, or each season, or each competition, do they give you a goal, or they give you a problem to solve, or a competition, if you will? I watch the things on TV where they try to destroy each other, but I suppose there's different competitions.
If we don't do the battle bots, where I would cry if we had to destroy our robot. So January 7th, the first Saturday of every year, they roll out what the challenges are. And from that point, we have about 6 weeks where we have to design, build, and test the robot. So that's why it's really intense. We have a short period of time. And then from that, we'll be testing and designing. And then from there, we'll go to our competitions, which are going to be in March and April this year.
Okay, good. Awesome. If our audience hears any construction going on, it's not the engineering class.
I believe the roof is getting put on right now.
No, it's actually the construction trades class that we share a wall with, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
all right.
They actually built this room, but we also can hear them sometimes. So if there is any kind of a construction noise in our broadcast this week, it's our construction trades class, hard at work. So last year, what was the challenge for robotics last year?
Well, it has a theme of some sort, and it generally involves us manipulating a ball or a box of some sort. So this year it was like more or less a large basketball that they had to create a robot to shoot through various targets. But the unique thing last year, and this robot that we build is about 125 pounds. They're relatively large. So they had to create a robot that could lift itself up off the ground and then traverse from about 5 feet up to 8 feet. So it had to climb, and like a set of monkey bars, if you will. So to see a 125-pound robot climbing and traversing, that was very challenging. So the kids did a great job and came up with a great design.
And you don't want it to fall on the step, do you?
No. Again,
that's neat.
If it breaks, it's
that's neat.
depressing.
I suppose that's top secret what the challenge is going to be, and
they don't
exciting.
tell us until that day.
Yeah, cool. And I know that at the board level, you receive a lot of donations and support from very generous companies and individuals that help support that.
Our local companies, it's a very expensive program, and it's all mainly supported by local companies and grants, and we have several companies that have been fantastic sponsors for us over the last several years. Yeah.
Good. Well, you've been here running the engineer program for a number of years and robotics and all that. You've got a lot of kids out that have graduated and gone on. Do you keep in touch with them? What are some of the ones up to? I'm sure they come back to see you.
It's kind of nice to hear from them every so often. I just recently got a text from one of my students that just accepted their first job at the Timken company.
Oh, cool.
So just little things like that. Yeah. In fact, this was my very first year that I have a student of a former student.
Oh.
when I started out long ago.
That shows our age.
Yeah, I know. That was a little upsetting.
Well, that's neat that the program's
it was nice.
But that's great that the program has now offspring, right?
Yeah. So it's nice. Every once in a while they'll come back and visit or give some time back to the kids, but it's always really nice to hear from the kids when they come back.
Very cool that you got some legacy stuff going on. Yeah. So what are some of the most unique engineering jobs that kids have gone into or fields?
Well, I've as I mentioned, we've had a student a few years that went to SpaceX. So they're developing some of the rockets and things that they've been launching. Cool. Some of the kids have gone on to Google. We currently have a former student at Google right now. So They don't even always get to tell us what they do.
Right.
We currently have a student who's one of our teachers, Mrs. Lucky Ewing's son, Connor, is doing some work at a manufacturer in Pennsylvania, but he's not allowed to tell us what it does because it's top secret. So neat little things like that. That's always neat when they come back and say, I can't tell you.
Yeah, it's like, I want you to know, but I can't tell you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, my neighbor is used to work at Lockheed Martin, and he would always, he's an engineer guy, and would say, yeah, and I think he taught at Youngstown State for a bit too, but he'd say, we're doing some really cool stuff, but I can't tell you. Yeah, very cool. Well, that's great. Well, congratulations on that, and our kids are, they're why we do it. And to watch them grow and learn and go out in the world and do cool things. You're very proud, and we're proud of them and you. So thanks.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, good
Appreciate
stuff.
it.
Anything else that you want to share with the listeners on about your program, about Hoover in general, or your robotics team?
Well, we're always looking for more kids that'd be interested in joining the program. As we mentioned, we have kids that start all the way down in 6th grade. We have now middle school STEM activities. So if there's kids that are younger, there's plenty of opportunities for people to get involved, and you don't have to be in the engineering program to do things like robotics or women in engineering. I believe they have a drone club right now at the middle school. So there's some neat things going on. If you're not sure, just give it a try.
Cool. Very cool. Do you guys do any, I know you have a spot on the district website for your program in the career tech. Any social media or anything you can share?
Actually, we do have our own website, and we do have, I believe we have Twitter and Instagram and the whole 9 yards. Yeah. So if you're out there looking for 4121 Robotics, that's our team number and kind of how we're identified. So you can probably find us that way.
So say it again.
4121 Robotics.
All right. And how did that number come about?
When you join the competition, they assign you a number, and that's your number for life.
Okay. All right. Cool. Kind of like your Social Security.
Yes, more or less.
4121. That's cool. All right. We'll look for it, and maybe we'll share it out on our show notes and get folks attached to you. That's great. And I suppose the kids kind of help run that and
yes, they do.
Update on competitions.
Yeah, I can't do all that stuff.
Well, you're kind of busy. I'm sure that you're not the media coordinator for the program, but yeah, it's good. Well, one, thank you for what you do for Hoover kids and North Canton kids in the district and the community, because this is helping. And I know you probably talk a lot with some of our Stark County leaders, chambers, and manufacturing groups and those kind of things. And so thanks for what you're doing to keep our kids local as best we can. So
I appreciate it.
That's good stuff. Yep. Thanks. Well, thanks for being here today. We appreciate our listeners for joining us today. And this podcast is a great way for us to share information about the district with residents and families. And if you have any questions about our podcast or want to suggest a topic for us to cover, just send us an email at vikingspotlight@northcantonschools.org. Let us know how you feel about the program and what you might want to hear about at vikingspotlight@northcantonschools.org. And once again, thanks for listening, and take care. Go Vikings.